Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. These past few months, we have seen the biggest exodus of human beings since the partition of India. Millions of migrant workers were driven out of big cities back to their villages after the lockdown was imposed, and they lost their sense of income and also their sense of security. But this was a story that was barely told in the national media. Here at Mojo Story, we spent months walking with these workers, tracking them on highways, tracking them through forests. They often walked through the dead of night with little children who were barefoot. And yet, we could barely get India to take notice. Now, they've almost become a forgotten headline, except for two people who have come together to sing, yes, sing, rap about their state. In the now viral video, Bambai Main Ka Ba, sung by Manoj Bajpayee and created by Anubhav Sinha. Before I introduce both our guests today, I have to say that we are enormously proud that some of our footage, some of our work with these migrant workers has also found a place in this searingly powerful song. If you haven't watched it, please do watch the video. And now let's welcome Manoj and Anubhav. मनोज, आपसे शुरू करती हूँ. बहुत साल बाद आप अनुभव के साथ कोलैबोरेट कर रहे हैं. माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स जो है एक सेक्सी स्टोरी नहीं है. हमारी जो क्लास है, हमारे जो प्रिविलेज लोग हैं, जब मैं इनकी कहानियां एक तरह से न्यूज में बता रही थी तो बहुत कम लोग सुनना चाह रहे थे. लोग अनकंफर्टेबल हो जाते हैं, लोग गरीबी के बारे में सुनना नहीं चाहते, लोग बस अपनी रियलिटी में कन्फाइंड रहना चाहते हैं. तो जब आपने ये रैप सॉन्ग करने का फैसला किया तो आपके दिमाग में क्या था? क्या आपको लगता है कि इसके जरिए, इस रैप के माध्यम से जो लोग केयर नहीं करते वो शायद केयर करने लगे?
अब मैं थोड़ा कंजर्वेटिव हूँ इस मामले में, क्योंकि मेरा पहले से मानना है कि यू कैन मेक अ कमेंट थ्रू योर आर्ट, थ्रू योर क्राफ्ट, through the painting and through the performances, to hope that things will get ignited or it will change from here. I doubt. But लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ी बात जो होती है कि अगर ये 5 दिन के लिए और 7 दिन के लिए वापस से ये बहस का विषय बने, बातचीत का हिस्सा हो, then I think we are successful. To expect that this song will create some kind of some kind of emergence or re-emergence of the talk, re-emergence of the discussion or the headlines, I doubt. I have severe doubt about it. But if it is being talked about, if it is being if the migrant word is again coming back, if the exodus is coming back, I think most part of the motive is successful and achieved.
Actually, you make a very important point, because even when I was reporting on them, Anubhav, I didn't think my job. मुझसे बहुत लोगों ने पूछा कि आपने उनको अपनी गाड़ी में क्यों नहीं बिठाया, आपने उनको खाना दिया. जहां 1-2 लोग थे हमने दिया, लेकिन जहां हजारों में लोग थे हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते थे. And I believe that my job was to report a powerful story. Just like your job as artist is also to tell a powerful story. We have to hope our art, our journalism creates a change. But Anubhav, this is obviously a subject that has stayed with you, लेकिन ये बहुत लोगों के साथ नहीं रहा. माइग्रेंट्स को वापस हेडलाइंस में लाना, उनको पहले ही हेडलाइंस में रिपोर्ट करना एक बहुत मुश्किल काम था.
मैं इतना ज्यादा नहीं सोच रहा था बरखा. मैं actually, my journey is a bit longer than this. I've always wanted to do some good work with Bhojpuri music. I grew up listening to good Bhojpuri songs, and then past 30 years, I don't think any other language has been so cruel to itself as Bhojpuri has been. So I have had this, and sometimes I didn't have a writer, sometimes I didn't have the resources, sometimes I didn't have the time. And this time, just quite serendipitous that it all came together. But ever since I thought of doing something in Bhojpuri music, I've always wanted to do a migrant song. I've always been very intrigued by, there was a time when I used to be very upset with the auto rickshaw drivers in Bombay. Lane nahi samajhte, signal jump karte hain. And as I grew older and wiser probably, I understood that unko nahi samajhna. They don't want to understand my signal system. They don't want to understand my lane system. They fly. They've got fields. They're into agriculture. They're not supposed to be here. They are here because we forced them to be here. We created such circumstances for them back home that we will find cheap labor.
Yeah.
And then we get them here, and then they serve us, they build our buildings. We, as the citizens of this country, or our governments, and every time I say government, some people get upset that I'm talking about the existing regime. No, I'm saying governments.
Yeah.
Do not look after these people who travel from thousands of miles away from their families. Give them homes. They're building your city. Give them homes. They don't.
Yeah.
So I've been very angry about this for years. And then I got this opportunity and I met this poet who translated it, whatever I was blabbering like I did just now. He translated that into a beautiful poetry.
Yeah.
And then the first thing that happened was my executive producer, Sagar, he read it and he said, Sir, Manoj Bajpayee. He knows Manoj is a friend. So I said, now actors, they think of too many things. And rightfully so. Too many considerations. So I said, no, then it will never happen. I was very worried that this should happen this time.
Did you have to spend a lot of energy convincing Manoj ki ekdam maan gaye?
No, not at all. It was again serendipity that he messaged me at 7:30 in the morning about some Bhojpuri song. We had an argument. Then he called up. I said, I'll tell you what a good Bhojpuri song is. I'm sending you something. Please hear it. So he heard it and I said, "Tu karega?" बोला बहुत अच्छा है. मैं कहा तू करेगा. बोला हाँ करूँगा.
It's fantastic. लेकिन जिसको भोजपुरी समझ भी नहीं आती, मेरे दोस्त संकर्षण ठाकुर हैं, बहुत सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट हैं, उन्होंने ट्रांसलेट किया है, अंग्रेजी में भी वर्ड्स हैं. आप लोग जरूर वीडियो देखिए. लेकिन मनोज, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, एक पंक्ति है जो मेरे साथ एक तरह से ठहरी वीडियो सुनने के बाद भी, और उसमें बात होती है कि कैसे ये जो मजदूर हैं, गांव में जमीन है उनके पास, 2 बीघा जमीन है, लेकिन शहर आते हैं तो टेम्पो में सोते हैं. तो इसके बारे में थोड़ा विस्तार से बात करते हैं, क्योंकि आप भी, मैं ये नहीं कहती कि आज आपकी हालात कोई माइग्रेंट वर्कर जैसे हैं. टुडे यू आर अ प्रिविलेज्ड पर्सन, सो इज अनुभव. लेकिन एक टाइम था जिंदगी में जब आप किसान के बेटे थे, आप गांव में बड़े हुए, आप हट में रहते थे, शहर आए, खाने को पैसा नहीं था. तो थोड़ा जब आपने ये परफॉर्म किया तो अपनी कितनी पुरानी जिंदगी, आज की जिंदगी नहीं, पुरानी जिंदगी के कितने शेड्स हैं?
मेरे ख्याल से मैं और अनुभव इस बारे में बात करते रहे कि माइग्रेंट जो है वो कभी लोकल नहीं बन पाता है. माइग्रेंट इज अ माइंडसेट, है ना. वो जो छोड़ के आया है, वो मैं 18 साल की उम्र में छोड़ के आया था, और मैं अभी भी वहीं पे हूँ. अभी भी मैं यहाँ इस जगह पे जिसे कहें कि आत्मा से बिलोंग करता हूँ, ऐसा कभी महसूस नहीं होता है. मेरी बेटी महसूस करती है. मेरी बेटी को मुंबई से ज्यादा खूबसूरत कोई जगह नहीं लगती, है ना. वो मेरे बाकी जगहों पे जाकर के वो एलियन की तरह से महसूस करती है. लेकिन जब मैं वापस जाता हूँ तो वहां के लोग भी मुझे एक अलग नजरिए से देखते हैं. वो फर्क देखते हैं मुझ में. उनको लगता है कि ये अब यहाँ बिलोंग नहीं करता है. मैं यहाँ पे एक बिहारी हूँ, तो मैं दोनों ही जगह नहीं है. माइग्रेंट इज लाइक अ पर्सन हु इज हैंगिंग इन बिटवीन, someone who wants to go back but cannot go back, and wherever he is living, doesn't feel that he belongs there. So is that hanging feeling is something is very difficult to describe.
Do you have it? Do you have it even today? Do you have that feeling even today as a big star? अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि अगर मैं आपसे एक वर्ड कहती हूँ घर, और आप अपनी आंख बंद करते हैं, तो आपके लिए घर कहाँ है?
मेरे लिए घर हमेशा जो है गांव का घर याद आता है. But that's an irony, I could not till now, I could not accept this house of mine as my home, and I've earned it. I have worked very hard for it for years to buy a house which I can call my own. But even today, whenever you talk about, as you said, whenever you think of a house, I always go back to my house. When I'm talking to you, the visuals are coming. Visuals are very clear. It's not even vague. It's not blurred. It's clear. There is no out focus here. It's everything is right in focus. Everything. I always wanted to go back. I still want to go back. But, Shabana, my wife says that you will never be able to go back. And she's been saying it since 18 years. And I think she's right.
Yeah.
So that's a migrant feeling that you want to go back, but you cannot go back, So for the people who are, as you said, yes, we are privileged. Yes, we have made a place for ourselves. But here but in physicality, the migrant laborers, they have a different situation. If you come to that, they in this kind of a situation, they thought that walking 1,500 kilometers and reaching their place would be far more safer than staying in a big city.
Yeah.
Though knowing the fact that they
have nothing there, they have nothing to go back to. They have nothing to go back to.
They have nothing to go back to. So that's a migrant feeling that you feel when you think about home, safety. You always think about the place that you have come from. No matter how privileged you are in a city like Mumbai, and the privilege that you just called me a privilege, and thank you very much. Yes, we are. I mean, me, Anubhav, all of us are privileged.
And me. हम लोग जिस vantage point से बात करते हैं वो एक privilege की position है. लेकिन Anubhav, Manoj makes a very interesting point about migrants being nowhere people. और मुझे याद है कि जब मैं बहुत महीनों तक उनको फॉलो कर रही थी, तो बहुत सारे लोगों ने मुझे कहा कि politicians don't care about migrant workers because वो ना इधर के ना उधर के. It's not clear कि वो कहाँ के हैं. Ultimately आपका जहाँ वोट डलेगा, अगर डलेगा, तो आपकी आवाज कोई सुनेगा. दूसरी बात, मुझे सभी मजदूरों ने बोला कि पॉवर्टी विल किल अस बिफोर कोरोना वायरस. और एक अजम्पशन थी कि गरीब आदमी जो है वो घर के बारे में नहीं सोचता, लेकिन कोई गरीब हो या अमीर हो, वो आदमी या औरत घर के बारे में सोचती है. इसलिए वो 1500 किलोमीटर पैदल बच्चों को लेकर खाने के बिना चले. अनुभव, this concept of the nowhere people and how you approached it in the telling of this song, उसके बारे में जरा बताइए.
There are two kids who work at my house 24/7. They live here. One is from Maharashtra, one is from Bihar. My own migrant feeling, like Manoj described, is pretty similar. And the day that happened, remember, suddenly in Delhi, just outside of Delhi, suddenly a lot of people got together because there was this rumor that there were buses coming.
Yeah.
And so we were aghast looking at that huge crowd during Corona. We were still grappling with the consequences of Corona. Yeah. And there were just thousands of guys standing there. We were aghast. And suddenly you guys started reporting that they're walking home.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you can't walk home from Delhi to Bihar. You can't. But guess what? They did.
Yeah.
And I was hoping and I was praying that they would take a vow that they will never come back. The biggest tragedy out of this game about, you started your question with a sentence that politicians don't care about. I did not hear the rest. They don't care. The sentence ends there. So they're coming back already because they don't have a choice. They're still in the same situation where they don't have anything at home. The only means is here. So I've been watching this, especially your stories, because you have become this woman possessed. And every time we saw your shows, I know I'm not saying this because I'm on your show and you've given me footage and all stuff, pro bono, I must say that. I'm saying this because every morning we were feeling inadequate.
Yeah.
That, look at Barkha, what is she doing? And not only us, because that's not my job. A lot of your colleagues were saying this out loud.
Yeah.
The entire journey has been very hurtful for me.
Yeah.
And it's not my journey, it's their journey. Just watching that journey has been so hurtful. And I think, Manoj and I shot this video in 5 hours, Manoj?
5 hours.
5.
Which station did you shoot it at?
We have a filmy station in a studio called Kamalistan.
No, because the station motif, of course, struck me. Because migrant workers को trains पे भी जगह देने के लिए हमें कई महीने लगे. जब हमने उनको जगह दी तो मनोज हमने उनसे टिकट के पैसे लिए.
पैसे
जी।
पैसे भी।
हाँ
और
मतलब
झूठ बोला कि नहीं पैसे नहीं
और
दे।
झूठ बोला कि पैसे ले लिए, मैं ट्रेन पे चढ़ी, मैं ट्रक्स के पीछे चढ़ी, मैं पैदल चली उनके साथ, और बार बार बहुत सारे लोगों ने मनोज मुझे बोला कि हम कभी वापस नहीं आएंगे। फिर कुछ
जी
महीने बाद मैं बिहार के गाँव में गई और मैं उनसे मिली और मैंने कहा आप क्या कर रहे हैं? मुझे बोले यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं है, हमें वापस जाना ही पड़ेगा, हमारे पास चारा क्या है? सो दैट लैक, सो आई वॉन्ट यू टू टॉक अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट, एक तरफ एक सपना है, ड्रीम्स हैं, और आपने जैसे कहा बंबई का शहर है, इट्स अ मेटाफर फॉर ड्रीम्स। दूसरी तरफ कंपल्शन भी है। तो जब आप ड्रीम भी करते हैं, आप सपना भी देखते हैं, और आपके कंपल्शंस भी हैं, इकोनॉमिक कंपल्शंस, तो वो रेकनसाइल कैसे होते हैं? और इसमें अगर आप थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में कुछ शेयर करें, बहुत पुरानी हो चुकी है कहानी, लेकिन मुझे मालूम है कभी आपके मन को छोड़ के नहीं जाती होगी,
जी
कि
जी
कितनी
बिल्कुल।
हार्डशिप आपके लिए पर्सनली रही एज अ पर्सन हु केम फ्रॉम बिहार टू द सिटी ऑफ बम्बई टू मेक इट बिग।
अब सबसे पहले मैं एड्रेस करूंगा आपके पहले दो
जी
सेंटेंसेस को, कि जो अ, जो मजदूर यहाँ से गया, जो लोअर मिडिल क्लास आदमी जो यहाँ पे एक स्किल्ड थोड़ा बहुत जॉब भी कर रहा था, जो वापस गया, वो अ, वो वहां से इसलिए आया था क्योंकि वहां पे काम नहीं था। वो यहाँ से इसलिए भागा क्योंकि उसको लगा कि मैं ज्यादा सुरक्षित उस जगह पे रह पाऊंगा, उस स्थिति में जो स्थिति बनी हुई थी कोरोना के कारण। अब जब वो वहां पहुंचा तो शायद अनुभव सही कह रहा है कि उसने कसम खाई थी कि वापस नहीं आऊंगा। और आप ही लोगों के, आप जब इंटरव्यू कर रही थी उन मजदूरों का, और भी बहुत सारे लोग इंटरव्यू जब कर रहे थे, उसमें से इनवेरिएबली सबके सब कह रहे थे कि वापस नहीं आएंगे।
बिल्कुल।
द बिग सिटी हैज बिट्रेड अस।
यस
ओके।
यस
And why they are coming back is because the truth is they are coming back for the same reason that they have left their places.
यस
Okay, so the things haven't changed. Somewhere the local situations have betrayed them. The big city has betrayed them. So they are somewhere in between. They don't know what to do. So they are going to shuffle between their place and the big cities all the time, looking for, not for the dream like Manoj Bajpayee and Anubhav Sinha, okay,
but
but
looking for survival.
looking
Survival.
for survival. You know, the difference between me and the laborers are completely different. There, the whole problem is of survival. For me, it was chasing my own dream, doing things, my way, or doing things that I wanted to do, wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming to your second part, मैं 18 साल की उम्र में जब निकला था तो मुझे बड़े शहर में, दिल्ली मैंने एक पहला बड़ा शहर देखा था, और दिल्ली मुझे ना डिज्नीलैंड की तरह से लगी थी। मुझे अभी भी याद है, आईटीओ ब्रिज पे जब वो ट्रेन रुकी थी सिग्नल पे, और ब्रिज से मैं जब देख रहा था उस पूरे सुप्रीम कोर्ट, यू सी द सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड प्रगति मैदान, दैट एरिया, and I suddenly realized that I'm in some kind of a fairyland, ये तो कोई कमाल की जगह है। और वहां से धीरे धीरे लर्निंग शुरू हुई कि हाउ टू, it is not going to be easy in this city. I have realized at that young age that कि यार यहाँ पे एक तो भाषा ना स्किल की तरह लेना पड़ेगा मुझे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे भाषा सीखनी बहुत जरूरी है, नहीं तो लोग आपको बिठाएंगे नहीं। तो भाषा हो, अंग्रेजी हो, हिंदी हो, एंड उसके अलावा जो मैं स्ट्रीट थिएटर करना, अपने आप क्राफ्ट को सही करना, ये सब चीजों के अलावा जो फिट इन होने का जो प्रोसेस है वो आज तक नहीं रुका है। I still feel that I'm lacking certain thing to fit into the society.
तो आज भी आप कह रहे हैं, अगर मैं मनोज बाजपेयी से पूछूं डू यू फिट इन, आप कहेंगे नहीं?
नहीं, I still feel that I'm still trying. I still feel uncomfortable in many ways, in many of the gatherings.
What makes you uncomfortable? कोई उदाहरण दीजिए, कोई एग्जांपल दीजिए।
I always feel that I'm lacking something that that every urban person has, and I don't have it. So I think that feeling of lacking, is always there. So that complex doesn't go away. That you are coming from a place which is lesser than the place that you are in. You know, that feeling never goes away. It doesn't leave you that easily. I don't think it leaves you. I know we kind of, we learn to cover it up with our language, with our confidence, with that, you know, pretense.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time we are pretending to be confident of who we are, where we come from. But that, you know, inner feeling, that that truth is always there. Then, no, I am still trying to fit into this society, which, and also it comes from the feeling that I don't belong. You know, I think, you know, it also comes from there, that I never feel that this is my home.
But do you feel like you belong when you go home? Do you feel like you belong there?
डेफिनेटली नहीं, मैं बहुत फील करता हूँ, वहां के लोग फील नहीं करते हैं कि मैं बिलोंग करता हूँ.
but Anubhav, what's interesting in Manoj's account कि जो एक displacement है वो physical नहीं, वो emotional psychological displacement भी होती है और वो कभी जाती नहीं.
बिल्कुल.
You know, और दिल्ली और बम्बई में थोड़ा फर्क भी है. मैं इसलिए नहीं कह रही क्योंकि मैं दिल्ली में हूँ. ये शहर एक रेफ्यूजीज का शहर था. ये शहर रेफ्यूजीज की इन्फ्लक्स पर खड़ा हुआ. बम्बई ड्रीम्स कहते हैं, सिटी ऑफ ड्रीम्स, लेकिन इनसाइडर आउटसाइडर डिबेट, और मैं अभी सुशांत सिंह की बात नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं कह रही हूँ जनरली उसकी पॉलिटिक्स. सुशांत के भी सवाल इसमें खड़े हो सकते हैं, लेकिन मैं एक जनरल बात कर रही हूँ कि इवन द सिटीज पॉलिटिक्स हैव बीन around the insider and the outsider. Who's coming to take our jobs? Who's coming to take our resources? So that displacement, talk a little bit about that displacement.
You know, when the outsiders come here, and I'm not only talking about the film industry. So when I came to Bombay, it was such a quiet city, not so many people around, not so much traffic like Delhi. Today, it has become the other way. Bombay has become more crowded than Delhi. When more people come in here, they create more opportunities. The city expands. So there are more opportunities to consume them, to have them in the mainstream of the city. And that is what growth is about. So I don't think there's a problem about taking other people's jobs, because we have 1.3 billion people. We are still not 30% as developed as we should be. Yeah. So if the country really developed, then there'll be enough opportunities and more for everyone. But the bad news is that there is selective development. So a certain part of the population is getting developed and the rest of them are fighting for opportunities. And so then when you're fighting for opportunities, then you will hear these conversations that you have taken my opportunity. It belongs to me because you come to my land. And then obviously the politicians like it and they use it. They love to use us against the rest. So that happens, but I don't think it should have been like that. So if I was Anubhav Sinha, who was wanting to be a filmmaker and who wanted to he will have to come to Bombay to make films, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think these people, the people in the streets, the people driving our auto rickshaws and our taxis and selling vegetables, I don't think they should have been forced to come to Bombay or Delhi or Chennai or Kolkata. They were forced. And this, according to me, is a very vicious design. It's a very cruel, vicious economic design. To keep them deprived as much as possible, so they accept the least.
So let me ask both of you this. Both of you are essentially saying कि अगर economic options होती, मैं मनोज आपसे पूछती हूँ, अगर economic options गांव में होती, तो आपको लगता है कि लोग आते शहर फिर भी, या फिर वो किसी और कारण से आते, जैसे आप आए, कि सपना कुछ
हाँ, जी बिल्कुल,
कि 9 साल की उम्र में अमिताभ बच्चन पसंद थे, एक्टर बनना था, वो एक अलग बात है, वो सपना है, लेकिन जो नौकरी ढूंढने आता है, वो एक अलग कहानी.
मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि जब मैं गांव गया था तो मेरे माई बाबूजी थे वहां पे. तो मैंने माई बाबूजी से पूछा कि घर में अब काम करने वाले तो एक दो ही दिख रहे हैं, क्या हुआ, कहाँ चले गए? तो उन्होंने कहा मनरेगा शुरू हो गया है तो अब कोई आता नहीं है, ना कोई अब पंजाब जाता है, ना कोई अब बाहर शहर में जाता है. तो मनरेगा इज जस्ट एन एग्जाम्पल कि जैसे ही उनके काम करने के दिन निश्चित हो गए कि you will be working these many days minimum and you will be getting this much of payment, suddenly exodus में migration में बहुत कमी आई थी. So that is also an indication that if you create more cities, if you create more cities, the burden on the big cities will be less, and the people will not go very far away from their homes, to work or to suffer.
Yeah.
So it's yes, you are very right that the moment we start creating opportunities of work, I mean, who would like to leave the comfort and come and stay in these in those shanty places? I think I don't
You
think a
left.
human being,
You did. There are dreams other than economic survival. ये कहना
yeah,
जरूरी है कि there are dreams other than economic survival also.
नहीं, जब वो मेरे जैसे बहुत कम लोग होंगे, मजदूर तो तादाद में आता है,
जी.
एक्टर एक ही क्लास में, मेरे एक ही, जब मैं 5th स्टैंडर्ड में था, आई वाज द ओनली वन हु वाज वेरी मच इंटरेस्टेड इन एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज. आई वाज द ओनली वन हु वाज रिप्रेजेंटिंग द क्लास in elocution contest, or or seen on the stage performing this play or that play or this poem or that poem, but the survival and dreams are completely different here. People don't want to leave their homes, people don't want to leave their villages and small towns. They want to stay there and make sure that they have enough money to survive.
Yeah. One thing I want to say in the end, that there have been heartbreaking deaths of some of these workers which will never make the headlines. Anubhav, मुझे याद है कि एक मजदूर थे, वो दिल्ली से मध्य प्रदेश पैदल जा रहे थे और आगरा के थोड़े आगे उनकी डेथ हो गई. And I went to his village, I went to his home, और उनकी बहन थी और वो अभी भी कह रही थी कि my brother was trying to earn enough money so we could start a school in the village. अब ये तो कभी हेडलाइन में एक बारी भी हेडलाइन नहीं बनेगी, हेडलाइन बनी तो हफ्तों तक तो नहीं चलेगी. बट व्हेन यू हियर टुडे, एंड आई वांट टू आस्क बोथ ऑफ यू दिस इनसाइडर आउटसाइडर डिबेट अबाउट योर इंडस्ट्री स्टार्टेड बाय सुशांत्स वेरी ट्रैजिक डेथ. एक तरफ वो इनसाइडर आउटसाइडर कॉन्वर्सेशन है, एक तरफ ये माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स, हमारी मजदूरों की कॉन्वर्सेशन है. दोनों में जैसे मनोज ने कहा कोई तालमेल नहीं है. वी टॉकिंग अबाउट टू पैरेलल यूनिवर्सेस, टू ऑल. But what does it mean to you? Altogether different. What does the phrase insider, outsider mean to both of you? I'll start with Anu.
In the film industry, it means nothing. It's just.
ऐसे ही झूठ है, बिल्कुल झूठ है कि
absolutely झूठ है. Absolutely झूठ.
क्यों?
I mean, it's been discussed too much. Too many outsiders have made it very big. Too many insiders have flopped and are out of business. And I've been around 30 years. Even before satellite TV started, to the point where OTTs have come in and the opportunities are plenty. Yeah. I have never seen discrimination based on this. No, this is ridiculous. This has no basis. The insider-outsider debate in the lower class, in the society, lower middle, and lower class, that exists, and rightfully so, because people whose land it is, they feel more entitled, and they should be more entitled. And once their jobs are taken away, they feel bad. And at times the struggle is violent. We have seen it all. So that is something that needs to be looked into. And that is something. So there's another debate that this is one country, anybody can go anywhere and work. But that's a very beautiful debate when you have work everywhere.
Yeah.
Then you can choose to go and work there. And when Maharashtrian guy decides, okay, I want to work in Mussoorie, he goes to Mussoorie and starts. That's very cool. But, it ain't the truth. Yeah. So that is a different discussion than the Bollywood discussion, which is ludicrous. And that is something that people, our governments need to look into.
Let me give the last word to Manoj. Do you agree कि ये बिल्कुल फजूल किस्म की डिबेट है when it comes to the industry, या फजूल नहीं तो ओवरप्लेड है? अनुभव के लिए ये डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट कॉन्वर्सेशन हो गई है एक तरह से. और आपने एक बात कही थी आफ्टर सुशांत डाइड, यू सेड कि एक बारी सेट पर उन्होंने आके आपके पैर छुए, and you saw the small town Patna boy in him. Maybe you saw shades of yourself in that journey of his. Do you agree with Anubhav कि ये एक overstated, disproportionate, overemphasized conversation है जो हमें बात करनी चाहिए, वो कुछ और करनी चाहिए, लेकिन वो हमारी mass media बात करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है, कि आपका experience कुछ अलग है?
देखिए, ये insider outsider debate, and this all started just since 20 years. If you go back and start researching, you realize that within the industry, this debate, started taking intensity or going very intense only since 20 years. Before that, there was no outside debate. Yes, I agree with Anubhav that most 90% of the people who made it very big in this industry, all of them came from outside, all of them. Okay. But since 20 years, they're not insider, outsider, but I would say there's some kind of elitist lobbies started emerging. Okay. That elitist lobby started calling themselves insider and started calling rest of the people outsiders.
Right.
Okay. So the anger and the debate post Sushant's tragic death, everything came out at that moment. So his sad demise was just an excuse for people to vent out, where they were feeling somewhere left out over the years.
Have you felt that? Have you felt that personally?
Many of the film journalists here, they ask me this, and I always say that, since I have taken a different path of doing independent films and doing things which had nothing to do with the so-called insiders.
Yeah.
It was, they never wanted to be part of those films, the films that I was doing, and so I was never in clash with them. Yeah. And also I never had to look for validation, for that work of mine, and they were not experts in really giving validation for that kind of work, because the work was very independent. The kind of work that I have been doing for all of these years, they were very independent or middle of the road in its nature. I was not in direct confrontation with them. Okay, but if you ask me the workshops that I take here sometime, many of the people call me for workshops. I go for the acting workshops or the theater workshops. The young ones were quite affected, and every time in the workshops, I had to tell them that, don't think about the nepotism, don't think about the insider, outsider, that will only handicap you. You guys should be skilled enough so that when you get that opportunity, that one opportunity, you hit it out of the boundary.
Yeah.
So that conversation was always there, Barkha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That insecurity in people, girls and boys coming from outside, that was always there. Yeah. So that needs to be answered, rather than just creating a cacophony and creating a noise where now I don't even want to talk about it much, because everything has gone in every direction.
Yes.
So anything that you say will be it's so dicey and tricky today.
Yeah, actually, the noise stops any real authentic conversation from happening. That's the irony. End May, Manoj, you started working with the migrant workers well before this video. I know, because I was following you. What made you do that? Was there an image that broke your heart? Was it your own journey from Bihar? How did you get involved?
I mean, I used to be involved with the NGOs in Delhi. When I was in Delhi doing theater, I used to do. I was into rehabilitating those children, or the street children, platform children, slum children, and that experience was always there. But when the visuals started pouring in, I personally started feeling very helpless. Rather, I have written a poem, I just to vent it out. When I was stuck in Uttarakhand, I had loads of time, and the pain was so much and the helplessness was so much that, I used to write. I just sit down, I used to write. And Sonu was doing, the news was coming that Sonu is doing, he's kind of stepping out and trying to do something. That was making me feel very small. Okay. And there were so many people like yourself, on the street with the laborers, with those migrants, doing so much, getting their voices from the roads, from the highways. to the rest of the India, I personally was feeling very, very helpless. So the first thing I've done when I landed in Mumbai, that I got in touch with a friend of mine who is very much involved with the NGO, very credible NGOs, and they're working with those people. Now working with these people who have gone back and in really setting up things for them so that they don't need to come back. I know the NGOs, when they work in pockets, but every drop can make an ocean. So I thought that it's better that we as a family can associate ourselves with that NGO and become their voice, so this is what exactly we've done. We become Shramik Sansthan's voice for them, taking their work to the people through our social media, creating keto donation for them. So little bit, just just to feel good, just to feel that I haven't lost that much in helping them.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing what both of you do, and I think as you said in the beginning, आपने शुरू में कहा कि अगर इस वीडियो के जरिए हम दोबारा कम से कम इन मजदूरों के बारे में बात तो करना शुरू करें, क्योंकि बिल्कुल ही एक तरह से भूल चुके हैं लोग इनको, तो that in itself will be या फिर अनुभव,
या फिर अपनी जब अगली बार जब अपनी गाड़ी से जा रहे हो और कुछ फुटपाथ पे सोते हुए लोग दिखें तो उसमें इंसान नजर आने शुरू हो जाएं,
हाँ बस
वो भी बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट होगा.
Thank you. Please do watch the video if you haven't. Anubhav, Manoj, thank you so much for doing the video and for talking. Thank you.